A father, a mother, two children. They drove into the woods for a quiet weekend and vanished without a sound. No bodies, no tracks, no clues, only a strange discovery buried deep in the forest. Something that should never have been there. This is the story of the Wendell family and the haunting truth that rescuers uncovered in the shadow of Everwood National Forest. The Wendells were the kind of family people envied, close, kind, ordinary. Mark Wendell, 42, worked as an architect. His wife, Elena, 40, was a nurse. Their children, Lucas and Sophie, were 12 and 9. Every year, the family took one trip to disconnect from everything. No phones, no noise, no distractions. Just them and the wilderness. That summer of 2015, Mark chose Larkspur Basin, a remote valley deep inside the Everwood National Forest. It wasn't a tourist site. No campsites, no signal, no amenities, just a dirt road that faded into the trees. He wanted peace. He got silence. Too much silence. On August 14th, the family packed their SUV with supplies, tents, food, flashlights, and a camera. Mark's last text to his brother read, "We'll be off-grid until Sunday. Don't worry if I don't reply." By all accounts, the Wendells arrived safely at the Basin trailhead that evening. A ranger later recalled seeing their car parked neatly near the boundary fence. Nothing seemed off, but no one would ever see them again. When Monday came and the family didn't return, friends grew worried. By Tuesday morning, a full search was launched. Park rangers found the Wendells' SUV still parked where they left it, locked, undamaged, and half empty. The cooler was missing, some camping gear gone, and footprints led down a narrow trail toward the river valley. They followed that path for 3 miles before reaching a clearing. That's where they found the campsite. 2 tents stood upright, unzipped. A burned-out fire pit still smelled faintly of charcoal. A kettle sat beside it, half filled with water. And beside a log, a small red hiking shoe. It belonged to Sophie, but the family was gone. Over the next 3 days, the search expanded across 50 square miles of wilderness. Helicopters scanned the canopy. Tracking dogs sniffed every path and stream. They found nothing. No torn clothing, no food wrappers, no trace of struggle. Even the ground seemed undisturbed, as if the family had simply walked out of existence. Searchers described it as unnervingly calm. The air was still, the forest quiet. Not even birds. One ranger said later. It was like the woods were holding their breath. The only clue came from a park volunteer named Tessa Hall, who claimed she heard children's laughter near the upper ridge around 6 p.m. on the evening of the disappearance. When she called out, no one answered. She assumed it was campers, but there were no other registered campers in that area. On the 5th day of the search, a small team following the river made an unusual find. A mile downstream from the Wendell's campsite, beneath an overhang of roots, they found a wooden carving, about 6 inches tall, roughly shaped like a bear, but with strange markings etched along its back. It didn't match any of the Wendell's belongings. When photographed, the carving showed faint letters scratched into the base, almost like initials, though not clear enough to read. The object was bagged and sent for analysis, but later, the carving went missing from evidence storage. No one knows how or when. Even stranger, just beyond where the carving was found, the rescue team discovered a trail of footprints in soft mud. 2 adults, 2 children. The prints moved downhill toward the river, then stopped at the edge, not fading, not scattered, simply ending. As if the 4 people had walked to the water and never walked out. Investigators tried to piece together what might have happened that night. Forensic experts examined the campsite. The fire had burned out naturally. Food was still packed. There were no signs of panic. Elena's wristwatch was found in the tent, cracked but functional. The last recorded time on it was 10:47 p.m. After that, nothing. The family's digital camera was later recovered from the car. The last photo on it was taken earlier that evening. Mark smiling, Elena roasting marshmallows, Lucas and Sophie sitting near the fire, a full moon faint in the sky. Nothing in that photo hinted at danger. Yet hours later, they were gone. As the case gained attention, theories flooded in. Animal attack, ruled out. No blood, no drag marks, no traces of struggle. Accidental drowning, unlikely. The current was shallow, and no bodies surfaced downstream. Criminal involvement, possible, but no vehicles, no footprints, no strangers reported entering the park. Voluntary disappearance. Investigators checked finances and IDs. Nothing suggested a plan to flee. Locals whispered a different theory, that the Wendells had stumbled upon something they weren't meant to see. Everwood had a dark folklore. Decades earlier, miners vanished there too. Their camps found empty, tools left behind, fires still burning. Some said the forest was cursed. Others said it was just big enough to hide anything. A week after the official search ended, a ranger named Peter Lawson refused to stop looking. He hiked deep into a part of the forest known as Shadow Vale, an area overgrown and rarely mapped. What he found still haunts him. Hidden behind a curtain of vines, he discovered a small cave entrance near the base of a ravine. Inside, a faint smell of smoke. The walls were blackened by soot, and in the center, a circle of stones, arranged like a makeshift fire ring. Among the ashes lay a single object, a child's drawing, crumpled and burned at the edges, showing four stick figures holding hands beside a tent, and above them, a tall figure drawn in charcoal, towering over the trees. It looked like it had been drawn with a child's hand. Lawson took photos, turned the sketch in, and sealed the cave. But the next day, when he returned with backup, the cave was empty. No ashes, no drawing, nothing. It was as if the forest had swallowed its own evidence. The Wendells were never found. Not a bone, not a shoe, nothing beyond that burned sketch and the footprints in mud. By 2020, the case was officially marked unsolved. But the story refused to die. Hikers still report strange sounds near Larkspur Basin, voices that echo when the forest is still, or faint laughter on windless nights. Trail cameras have captured unexplained flickers of movement, always just out of frame. Some say the Wendells became part of the woods, a story whispered through the trees. Others believe they were taken by something human or something older. Whatever the truth, the forest remains unchanged, silent, watching, waiting. Years later, a new rescue team ventured through the same basin to locate a missing solo hiker. They found him safe, disoriented, dehydrated, and terrified. He told rangers that on his second night, he woke to the sound of footsteps circling his tent. When he unzipped the flap, he saw four shadows standing among the trees. A man, a woman, and two children. He called out. No one answered. The figures turned slowly and vanished into the fog. The man swore it wasn't a dream when he described them. The ranger recognized the details instantly, the same as the Wendell's missing persons photos. But when they checked his campsite for prints, there were none. Some stories never fade. They live in the air, the water, and the whispers between trees. The Wendell family went into the forest to find peace. What they found, no one can explain. And sometimes, the strangest part of the disappearance isn't what's missing, but what's left behind. This is Unwritten Stories. Real lives, hidden truths, the ones history forgot. For more stories like this, like and subscribe to this channel using the link below.